And the other thing you need to decide, so we know the name, we know the state, what type of company you're going to form. Is it going to be an LLC? Is it going to be a C-Corp or an S-Corp? Hello. So you've chosen the name and you are ready to register your company. You're ready to form the company. So in this video, we're going to continue the discussion of starting a new business. We'll talk about how you can get your company formed. So few things you have to answer to make sure you can get the formation right. You can get the formation done. And then we'll talk about the tools. Number one, we talked about a little bit in the last video which state you're going to form your company at. So you definitely need to choose the state. We talked about the state of Wyoming, Texas, also Arizona, Delaware as being places for starting the business, or your own state, which could be also the best choice. You can take an advice from an accountant or a legal person to help you with that decision. And the other thing you need to decide, so we know the name, we know the state, what type of company you're going to form. Is it going to be an LLC? Is it going to be a C-Corp or an S-Corp? You'll find a lot of information on the internet on the differences. If you get stuck, please call me. I'm not a legal advisor, but I have some experience I can share. And in this one, it's not going to be that hard to decide on, I hope. And then, that also might include who's going to be on the company. Who's going to be the owner of the company? Is it going to be, two partners? We call them members. More than this, is it going to be the owner is going to be a company or a person? And so on. And then lastly, who's going to be the agent of the company? And this is important because the state Secretary of State wants to know who is the responsible person of the company. If there is any tax document or compliance document for the company, that agent should have an address and contacts, like a phone number, so the state can reach out to that person and send them mail. So that agent can be yourself. If you're present, the most important thing to be is the agent has to have an address in the state where you're forming the company. So if you live in California and form the company in Delaware, you need to have an agent in Delaware. The good news is a lot of the tools and services that do company formation, they have a service for agent where you essentially just hire an agent from them for a very cheap cost, where they work as a proxy. So that company becomes your agent. Anything that you receive, letter basically, go to the agent who's out of state for you, and they will forward those letters and correspondence to you. So this way you get them. Obviously, if you are your own agent, at the state where you're going to register, then you don't pay any fee. So that would be great, right? So that's the agent. And then, one of the things you're going to see, the companies that help you with formation will also most likely they'll draft the legal documents, things like the operating agreement, which defines how your company is going to operate. So I don't want to go through all this legal jargon because you can find information about it online. If you get stuck, please give me a call and we can, or text, basically text me, write me a message, and we can get together and help you with that. So now let's talk about the tools. So there are 3 tools I recommend today that you can use for forming the company. Number one is going to be LegalZoom. So LegalZoom has been out there, for a while, and they can help you form your company. There's another company called Zen Business that I tried recently. It's sort of like a newer company, but it's also one of those who have reviews out there. And then there's Clerky. So from my experience, each tool has their advantages and disadvantages. If you are planning to open a startup, not just a regular business, a company that you think is going to have a big growth, becoming a unicorn, hopefully, and you're going to raise funds from an institutional investor, usually those VCs like the company to be a C-Corp, and they usually like the company to be formed in Delaware. So, and then they like to have a specific structure, operating agreement, where you have, common stock, and, you basically do stock elections, and you assign those stocks, to yourself, to the owners, and leave a pool, and so on. So the best company that I know that can do this really well in the form that's really common for companies that would raise funds is Clerky, Clerky.com. They have, their price is not that cheap, but it's okay. They have this lifetime service, and this is not an advertisement for them at all, but I tried them and they work really well. So just go to Clerky.com and they will do the formation for you. Potentially they'll get all the legal documents done for you. So you don't need any lawyer to get the basic things set up for your company. So they get you all the way to the formation. Pretty quick, very cool. They also have some checklists and checklists that you can go through for post formation. And they have the ability to do amendments and so on. So they're really good. What I would like to see with Clerky is the ability for them to also do other things like, create an EIN for you, request an EIN for you, which is basically the tax ID for your company and so on. And maybe they're coming to this. If you're going to create an LLC, and that LLC is going to be owned by individuals, I would say just go with LegalZoom. Specifically, if you don't have a lot of experience with company formation and managing companies, LegalZoom is a good company. I mean, they might be a little bit more expensive than other companies out there. What I like about LegalZoom is they have a wizard-like process that will ask you questions, dumb it down so you can answer those questions easily, and then they can tailor the formation for you. Their timelines are pretty good. They always, under promise and over deliver, so they'll deliver on time. If you go with like one of the highest packages, they'll give you like a nice dossier, a nice file, like physical binder with everything for the company, including certificates, checkbook, and whatever, a lot of interesting stuff. So and they have also a compliance package, which you may need in the beginning, which will tell you, oh, by the way, you have to file this annual report at this time. So just remind you of things you have to do afterwards, post formation. And they have the ability to do, request EIN and a few other things. So they're really cool. If you want something lighter, cheaper, and it has the ability to do, sort of like an a la carte where you can choose specific things, like do an, operating agreement, but don't do the EIN or do it afterwards. I would go with Zen Business. My experience with them was okay. I think they can be also a good option. You can look at different prices and decide. So these are the three companies that I would recommend for forming the company. Those are three services. Essentially, you just go fill out a form online and they do it for you. So after you form the company, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next video, comes post-formation. So there are things that you need to do post-formation. It depends on what you formed, what type of company, and what you need to do. There are things you may have to do after forming the company. In the next video, we'll talk about them, whether it's, tax election, stock election, requesting an EIN, statement of information filing, and other stuff, and maybe opening a bank account. So hope to see you in the next video. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment. Thank you.